Hey, it's Patrick. Welcome to my Expat Animator series, where I try and help beginners, hobbyists, and independent animators create 2D animations. On today's episode, what I want to talk about is the one thing that you need to do if you want to create a large animated project. And I've got some experience in this because of the animations that I've done. Trep was my superhero animation that ended up being about 22 minutes long. Traveling Gringos had a runtime of about 45 minutes. And even projects like my graphic novel that I made that's 80 pages long, that I basically did all the work on. These projects literally took years to do. And I want to give you my best tip for getting through really large projects like that, especially if you're working on those projects by yourself. And that tip is to get into a routine. So what do I mean by this? Well, basically, you cannot get everything done in one day, obviously. So you need to plan out kind of a plan of attack of how you're going to accomplish your project, be it an animation or whatever your project is. So what I do is I try and schedule out on a calendar big milestones or things that need to get done to get your project completed. And then you can break those down into smaller milestones or smaller projects. And then basically the routine part of it is try and make it so that every single day, or at least 5 days a week, but if you can do 6 or 7 days a week, that's even better, where you're putting in at least an hour a day on your project. And ideally you want to have that at the same time every day. So that, maybe it's like the first thing after you wake up, you brush your teeth and you just start animating for an hour. And if you have your milestones kind of set up telling you what to do for the day, you'll know before you even sit down what shot you're working on or what you're doing for that day. And then you can sit down and do the work. And then after time goes by, even if you're only doing an hour a day, if you can do that 7 days a week for a year straight, that's 365 hours that you've put into your project. And if you break that down into 8-hour work days, you've basically worked from 1.5 to 2 months of a full-time job on your project. And maybe you think, well, I can do more than an hour. I can do 2 or 3 hours a day. I mean, that's great. But make it part of your routine so that some days you may only work 20 minutes and some days you may work 3 or 4 hours on your project. But the routine part of it is you're putting in the time every day. And once it becomes part of your routine, then it gets easier to keep working on your project. And I've had projects where I put in 8 hours a day every single day, but that means that I can't have a day job. So I would have to save up money so that I could quit my job and then go work for months at a time on my project and devote the time that I needed to get these projects done. Now, I'm not recommending doing 20-minute animations. I'm actually recommending you do smaller animations, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I think personally for me, I'm kind of done with the big projects. I've done 3 really big projects in my life, and they're a real commitment to time and sacrifice, these things that you're sacrificing in your real life that you can't do because you're dedicating so much time to your projects. But if you just want to animate for fun, and what I would suggest is picking a small project, like anywhere from 15 seconds even for an animation could be a completed project. And, maybe your goal is like a 2 or 3 minute animation. I mean, those are great goals. And what you'll find is if you make it like a really long project, it gets kind of hard to get people to watch your project, especially if they're not into animation. So what I recommend is doing shorter projects, and it's a lot easier to show those to your friends because they'll be more inclined to sit through and watch what you did. And with smaller projects, you can really focus and concentrate on getting really good animation into that small amount of time. But the routine is very important to completion of your project. And sticking to that routine is really going to help you get your project done. And, maybe it's only 15 or 20 minutes a day that you can dedicate, or, before you go to work or after work or school, or even at your lunchtime, you can, bring an iPad with you or something and get 15 minutes worth of work done on your lunch break. if you can stick to a routine, that amount of time is going to start adding up, and you'll soon have a lot of hours put in towards your project getting completed. So that's my advice: is get a routine, stick to your routine, make a game plan for how you're going to attack your project and get all of the different pieces of it done, and try and stick to that routine the best that you can. Well, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching, and keep on animating.